another meat, chicken. This is a chicken breast that I got from my grocery store. It is a natural chicken breast. There's no hormones added to it, so it's at least a step in the right direction. If you can't get it fresh from a grass-fed, pastured farmer, at least try to get less hormones and less contaminated meat if possible. If you can't get anything above the traditional food that's at your grocery store, just make sure that you're cooking it as quality as you can, with less oils and less fats, and eating really good food. Remember portion size. So these chicken breasts are pretty big. So what I do is I cut them in half and I almost butterfly them. You can pound out the chicken if you want with one of those hammers and flatten it all up, or you can keep them this size. It's hard to say no to some food when you already know that's how it comes and that's the portion. So if you pre-portion it and you cook it for your family, you'd be surprised. I have to clean up. Okay. So if you cut your chicken, like I just did, and you cut that chicken breast in half, through the middle with a really good knife, you make it easier on yourself to limit your intake of meat. When you have a big piece of meat, sometimes when you're in the process of eating, it's hard to stop. So remember your palm of your hand, deck of cards, and 3 to 5 ounces is generally all you need with your meal. Okay, so I'm gonna cook up this half, save this half for another meal. And I'm gonna cook this chicken up in broth. Now, you've seen me use the broth I had it in a pickle jar this whole time. You've seen me use that time and time again and add it to other things. So this one, what I did was I put enough broth in a ice cube tray so that when I have instances like this, that I just need a little bit, I can just take a cube of broth and melt it in my pan. So I'll put 2 in. Give the pan some time to melt the little cubie. This is good because sometimes your broth you can't keep it for so long. It stays for about a week in your fridge, and then you can freeze it. So if you freeze it in cubes, this way you can portion it out. You don't have to thaw a whole container full. So freeze your broth in cubes. Okay, I am going to stir fry, saute my chicken. Well, this guy needs a little bit more grooming here. The stir fry recipes that I have for the vegetables, I do usually cook the vegetables separate, because this way, when you put everything together, you can keep it together or you can keep it separate. I usually cook all the vegetables separate from the chicken and from the grains. When you assemble everything at the end of the meal, it's no problem. You can keep it all that way, or you can keep all of them separate. And this way, if you want to use the meat or the veggies or the grains in other meals and another time, it makes it so easy, and you're not sick of it. Okay, so we're gonna throw our meat. And the purpose of this is just to show you that you can cook your meat without oil and in a stainless steel pan. So just saute it up. In essence, you're almost like steaming it, and it's in that flavorful broth, so it's also giving it a lot of flavor and seasoning. You can give your meat some seasoning. If you know you're making a stir fry or something, it's all stir fry to me. If you know you're making like a Chinese type of dish, soy sauce or all that salt, don't salt your meat. It's going to be probably way too salty for you when you come back to it. This is why, with the sauce on it, this is why I don't have any salt in my broth, and I don't recommend salting too much at any other time, because depending what condiments you want to put on there, they might be salty condiments to begin with. But also I try to buy sodium-free or reduced sodium soy sauce or condiments like that, so that you don't have to worry as much. So you can cook up your chicken, won't take too long. Here's my little. When you cook chicken like this, you can use it so many different ways. Add it to your salads, add it to your grain bowls, soup. Well, I guess you could throw it in your soup. You could cook it up and then throw it in the soup. You can, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the stir fry. The basic stir fry, in my opinion, is a grain, sauteed vegetables, and if you want, sauteed meat. So here's your chicken, and you can add all this up. I think I need another broth cube. And this happens from time to time as well. If you don't add enough broth in the beginning, you can just add a little bit more, or add some water. You don't need the fat. So just cook this all up. So you can top these with any of the condiments on our condiment list. You can add any spices to these stir fries. A stir fry that I always came back to and was a first winner with my family was my fajita stir fry. And that I have on the recipe book, but it pretty much is a little bit of your pepper spices. So like maybe a little bit of Cajun, some paprika, some garlic powder, some onion powder, in essence the Cajun blend, as I tend to refer to it time and time again. So you want to get it to the heat level that you want. If you want spicy, add more peppers. If you don't want it so spicy, obviously don't add as much. And then to get the brown caramel of the fajita seasoning, you can add either some Worcestershire sauce, and there are vegan Worcestershire sauces if you don't want, I don't know what would be in there. Let me look. Now I'm curious. Vinegar, molasses, water, salt, onions, anchovies, garlic, tamarind extract, natural flavors, chili powder extract, chili pepper extract. Okay, so that's what's in the traditional Worcestershire sauce. I also use A1 sauce. It's usually in my fridge. We don't use it too often. I do use it in my meatloaf, and I use it in my fajita stir fry. The reason that I go to this blend is I don't like those packets. The box, international aisle at the grocery store, you know the wall that I'm talking about. They're all the yellow boxes. They come with the tortillas, they come with the seasoning mix, and sometimes they come with the salsa. I used to cook them for years until I actually read what's in there. There's some crazy additives that you just don't need. There's some MSG. There's all kinds of cellulose and like non-caking. So forget that. Make what you want. Season it how your family likes. Learn, experiment, and you're so much better off. I think we have some chicken. And that's all you need to do. So we have some sauteed chicken and some really good broth. You can add it to, like I have some rice that I made back there. And if you want to do that, put it all back in the pan and mix that seasoning, the A1, Worcestershire, spices, whatever seasoning you want to do, and mix it all together. I know I probably sound like a broken record, or I said it 3 different ways, but experiment, cook with better ingredients, use up everything sparingly and smartly, if that's a word. Cook whole foods as much as you can. Get as quality as you can. and leave me some comments. Come back to Facebook, talk to me. Let me know if you have any questions, want any suggestions, and we'll go from there. Thanks everybody. Cook up some chicken. You don't need any oil. Just use that veggie broth or water. See you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Salt. Salt and broth. What a great piece of chicken.